Unplug Experience 2025.
I am LaShawn Davis. I am the Catalyst for Greatness and Success and also the founder of the HR Plug. And today we are at the Unplug Experience here in Atlanta. And it is a gathering, an event for HR professionals and business leaders, all to unplug and disconnect from the things that are daily draining them, and an opportunity to receive from the community of other entrepreneurs, dualpreneurs, to come together and just rebuild, refresh, and reignite each other before going back to work. The Unplug was born in about 2021. Right after COVID, when HR professionals were struggling with how to battle what's happening in the world when we've never had to deal with it before. And so I thought it would be good to kind of get everybody together to unplug, and it's just kind of grown from that perspective. But the premise has always been to be well and connect and community, because that's really how you can overcome whatever we're tackling. And it seems that since COVID, things have remained chaotic in the world, from COVID, to everybody wanting to work from home, to protest and all these other kind of things. So it's kind of continued, and it's continuing to grow, and people are finding value and a need for this type of event. I want people to leave here with understanding that they are human first, and that they work for a company or an organization, but that doesn't become their life, and that they should not have to battle the things that are happening in the world of work alone. I also want people to leave knowing who they are, knowing what their identity is outside of a job title, outside of a salary, outside of how corporate America defines you, and that you don't have to conform to those things, but you can remain true and authentic to yourself and how you show up at work and at home. So if you want to find out more information about the Unplug Experience, the website is www.experienceunplug.com. You can also check us out on Instagram under @the-HR-Plug, and we're also on TikTok and Facebook as @the-HR-Plug. But definitely reach out, connect, and follow this journey, and meet us at the next one. We do this annually, and I would hope that I can see you there so that you can disconnect and plug into a community who truly cares about you as a human first.
So my name is Dr. Alacia Black-Hackett. I am the CEO of ABH Solutions. I am also the former inaugural Chief Diversity and Equity Officer at the U.S. Department of Labor, and I was appointed by President Joe Biden. So first of all, it's DEIA. I want to make sure we include the A, which is accessibility, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. What we've experienced here recently is a lot of rollback on DEIA initiatives that was put into place with the Biden-Harris administration, but also just what communications have been working on for many, many years. And so what we have is a rollback of the most positive impact to our citizens and residents of the United States of America. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is not equal to Black communities or Black workforce. It is exactly the opposite. It is everyone who is not under the demographic group of a white male. And so we're talking about racial ethnicities, but also women, youth, veterans, those who have disabilities, those who are just as involved. It is my belief, because of the experience that I've had, that most people in the United States of America fit under one of the categories of DEIA. So we're talking about all groups that's considered a marginalized community. That includes rural areas who didn't have Wi-Fi, but because of the bipartisan infrastructure law, we were able to ensure that there was funding available for those communities too. So DEIA is for most citizens, and the rollback is negatively impacting so many lives and will continue to show itself as impacting negatively because of the inconsistencies in what DEIA is and what DEIA is not. You are correct. Executive orders, and let me make this very clear, executive orders are not laws. Executive orders are a declaration from the executive branch, which is our presidential office, to say this is how we're doing policy during this administration, but they are not laws. And there are still laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There is laws, that are on the books that protect civil rights, that protect United States citizens, because you have to have things passed through Congress. So what we're having here is this huge and this massive executive order to try to stretch the powers of the executive branch. We have 3 branches of government. And if they're working correctly, it's a balancing act, right? And so this executive orders, people are talking very loud about what we can and cannot do. However, what they don't talk about are the numerous lawsuits and the things that are currently in the court systems to fight and to battle what has been put into place to try to dismantle a lot of the successes that we've had. And so these executive orders are not legal standing. It really is trying to see what the president can get away with. And so I just want people to focus on that, and that there are things that are in place, that are laws that protect our rights. And so I encourage you to read. Reading is fundamental, and to understand. For instance, yesterday, today is April 4th, so yesterday is April 3rd. So yesterday I read about the president having the K-12 school system sign a certification against DEIA. Well, that's not even part of his powers, because education is within state powers. And so this is not something that the executive branch has authority over. And to be honest, there's only about 13% of budget per student that comes from federal budgeting, federal funds. The other is from state funds. And so when you actually start reading, you realize that a lot of what is said is just words, and they are being combated in the court systems, because what I find is that those who are going through the court system want to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And so the fight may not be as loud, but it's happening. So it's going to take a little bit more than just, one question to really understand how to incorporate DEIA into the structure of incorporations and agencies or any kind of organization. But what I will say is that DEIA is resilient, right? And so as far back as, the civil rights movement, urban affairs, and then multicultural affairs, diversity, international affairs, there's been this iteration of the work that we do. However, because our country is diverse, and it's going to continue to be as diverse as it is today, it's going to keep growing, it is imperative that we keep the language of DEIA in existence. This is why I know that the work will never stop, it will not die, it'll just evolve. And sometimes that looks like wordsmithing, sometimes that looks different, but it cannot stop because we're a very diverse group of people. And so I just encourage there to be a lot of tough conversations. And for corporations is look at your bottom line dollars. What is the return on investment? What is your ROI, right? So look at the data. Data doesn't lie, numbers don't lie, but people can skew the results of those data. But when you look at the facts, you will see that if you have a more diverse company, you have more success in productivity and then the communities that you serve. You can find me on all social media platforms, Alacia Black Hackett. That's ALAYSIA, Black as in the color, Hackett, HACKETT. And that is also my website. Just add .com on the end. And you can follow me there. I have a book that I will be releasing very soon called The Diversity Illusion that I feel like was necessary for me to write. It wasn't my intent. And then there's also some other things that I'm working on. So please stay in tune with what's happening. And I hope to see you.